Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage live stream, the 4-H Club, the Humpday Happy Hour Hangout. 4 H's. I'm your host and resident idiot, Michael, and yeah, we're live again across the world. How y'all doing today? I just getting started. Actually had a little bit of time. I didn't rush in on this episode for a change. That was kind of fun. Actually have a little bit of like, hey, I can turn the gear on and make sure everything's working and you might be able to hear something. Like last week, 2 minutes of nothing on the air. It was unbelievable. How y'all doing today? Don't have a lot to go through. I've got like one of those weeks where things are painfully starting. I've got a 4 a.m. tomorrow call. I have to be at Disneyland, which is like an hour from here, at 4 a.m. It's gonna be like it's like an hour drive. I gotta get it's gonna be like at 2:30 a.m. Folks, I'm going to bed at 2:30 in the morning on most nights. I'm gonna be getting up at 2:30 in the morning tomorrow. It's gonna be a rather painful day tomorrow. It's gonna be and then I've got another shoot in the afternoon. Sunday, I can't talk about the shoot tomorrow at Disneyland, but I can tell you about Sunday. I'm gonna go, the Beach Boys are playing at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. And so I'm going to be going to that concert. We're going to be interviewing the Beach Boys, and John Stamos is like basically an honorary member of the band at this point. He'll be there playing with Mike Love and Al Jardine and all those guys. I see them about once every 2 years or so. And we do an interview with them for our show. So that's not this show, but my work show, Entertainment Tonight. So that's what's going on with me. Got a father in the hospital. That's not good. He picked up COVID, and he's up there. So, get well soon, Dad. Not that he's watching. He's not. But yeah, not the best situation there. And what else? The contest. I drew the winners. I shot the video, and I've got almost nothing else done. It's like I got a basic timeline laid out. I don't have any of the music in. I don't have anything else done, but that'll be coming this week. So probably Friday, maybe Saturday. I've been, not really sure when it's going to drop at this point, because I got to find time to do all this, and I got these crazy hours with my regular job this week. So we'll see what happens. It'll be out this week, though. You guys will know who won. And fun little video, not crazy long or anything like that, and not crazy complicated either. Just kind of like get it out there, let everybody know, and then we'll move on, and I'll send out the headphones that we have in the giveaway for this time. And if you don't win for whatever reason, don't worry about it. Like, there's going to be plenty more of these things. And plenty more good things to give away. So the list is endless and the possibilities are endless. All we need are subscribers. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll get it on. So that's what's going on with me. That's the short update. Haven't had much time for anything other than work this week. It's been a very work-intense week, and lots of writing and some shooting, and was with the Property Brothers yesterday. We did a big shoot at one of their houses they're building in Pasadena, and that's kind of like what I've been doing. I did get some listening time in this weekend. I had some stuff like paperwork stuff to do, and stuff for an estate, and stuff that keeps you in the office, kind of like working. And I was listening to Al Green, the great Memphis singer, and was part of that whole Memphis sound that was, like Otis Redding, and I always assumed that Al, pardon me, a little cold in here right now. The air conditioner is blowing right on me, which is good because it's not exactly pleasant outside. But Al, I thought Al was part of the Stax crowd and that whole Booker T and the MGs crew. And he's not. He was actually on a label called High Rhythm. And High Rhythm had their own rhythm section called the High Rhythm Section, and they were their own individual band. They were the house band, and Booker T and the MGs were the house band for Stax, and the High Rhythm Section was the rhythm section for High Rhythm Studios. So Al recorded at the High Rhythm Studios, but it's the same Memphis sound. There's such a difference between Motown and Memphis in terms of sound. Like Motown was like a heavy grooves and like big bass, heavy grooves, and like hot punctuating horns. And Memphis was like they were a little bit maybe slower in a lot of cases, horn-driven melodies, and a lot of drones. And they had this dissonance between the two horns that was just slightly off. They weren't a perfect harmony, and it's such a signature of that Memphis sound. Cheers, everybody! It's Wednesday. Well, but thoroughly enjoyed like that dive. I didn't know that. I learned something this week, so that was really cool. I'll do a feature on that in an upcoming episode, I think, because that's kind of interesting to me. I didn't realize that Al was a part of a different Memphis studio system. You think Memphis, and it's like, well, what are you going to do? Back in the 50s, it was Sun Records, but then once that was done, it was just Stax. Stax came along and dominated Memphis as far as the Memphis sound. And then, Nashville was its own thing. But very interesting stuff that there was that whole other... I didn't know... I wasn't aware of that. And I want to dig into those players and find out more about them, because they're great sound on those records, man. I was listening to a couple of his, and even the greatest hits, I did a little listening on that album. Very cool. Very, very cool. So that's what's going on. Oh, headphone-wise, I got a new headphone coming in probably next week. It'll be here. I don't really know. Not brand new, but it's something that I really... Another one of these, like, always wanted to try this, and now I'm getting the opportunity. So that's really cool. I sold a headphone this week. If you guys checked out I mentioned it in the... subscription, or in the comment section. If you go to the comment section of my page, I'll update a lot, what we're doing, and if there will be a live stream, if there's a change. I was kind of on the fence about today's live stream because I am so tired at this point, but I mean, we can do an hour, and you guys are my friends, so I like hanging out with y'all. But that was I don't know what I was saying. Live stream. Oh, so I put it in the section. Yeah, I sold the... what did I sell? I sold the Drop Mr. Speakers CX Closed. And that went out. I sent that out. And I sent it out USPS because UPS right now is so expensive to ship. I don't want to try it. So the last couple of things I've sent out UPS were 3 times the cost of what USPS was charging. So it was like $20 to send this thing all the way across the country, the headphone out. And in the case, the last time I sent something UPS across the country, it was about $90. So like, shipping still up there. Maybe it's come down. I'll have to check it out, but I'm not making that mistake again. And y'all who win the contest, whoever the contest winners are, you're getting USPS because it's much more cost effective. Unless I got to send internationally. I don't know where anybody is. So now let's dive a little bit into the chat here and see what's going on. Victor Ennis, cheers, Victor. Cheers to everybody. It is Wednesday. We are about halfway through the week. Got the show on the air today and came home and talk about blood sugar crashing. Oh, geez, just like get through the work day. I'm like, whoa. Let's see. Victor Anna says, "Hey, I got an audio question off the bat. waiting for the arrival of his WMF headphones. Where is it best to get additional cables for it? It comes single-ended, but also thinking about getting balanced. Well, that comes down to what you want to spend. I mean, that's the first thing. And how nice you want to go. You know, if the question is an IEM, I've got a much clearer answer. I would tell you to go to Linsol and pick up their cables, because they do these super beautiful weaves, and they're not much money. They're about $100. But cables for over-ears get quite expensive quite fast. Like this one, where is it? This one here? New, this headphone cable right here at 6 feet or whatever it is this is like a $3,000 headphone cable. I didn't pay that much. I got this used. Somebody was saying, you know, I'm in a jam, I need some cash, and would somebody pay this for it? And I'm like, yeah, I would. So I got it for, I would say, like more than half off. So and this is a cable that I had seen at Can Jam. This is a Axios from Kimber cable. But I would not advise going to Kimber cable. The sticker shock will kill you. But that's, I'm trying to think. There was a company called Toxic Cables, and they were out of Canada. Now, I don't know if they're still in business or not, but that guy did really nice cables in silver for not much money. Like a couple $100 could get you a beautiful headphone cable. So that's possible. Like I would look at that. ZMF atriums. Okay. So ZMF atriums. Well, first of all, I mean, I'm sorry, you said sorry, Victor. I'm like, WMF. I'm like, I don't know what that is. But I'm going to, you know, I'll answer the question, because it is just a question about cables in the end. But he got the atriums. Well, the atrium ships with a very nice cable. I'm using it here. This is the stock cable. And if you want to upgrade the cable, I would also say, you know, talk to Zach. Maybe he'll cut you a deal on, you know, if you package in a cable with it, like an advanced cable, how much would they, you know, they do some really nice cable work over there. I was impressed. I had it when I bought the first one. Actually, I think I might even have that cable still somewhere around here. And I hung on to it. It was like, because I bought one of the nice cables from him, from Zach. And it wasn't, I don't think it was crazy expensive, but I don't really remember. It was 2 years ago. My brain is, you know, I don't remember what I had for lunch today. I really don't remember what I had for lunch today. But the nice thing about this, what I'm really appreciating lately about the Audezes and about the ZMFs is they all share the same connector. So when you get, and even the same thing with the what's it called? The Mezes. These Mezes, they all share the same connector, and that is really cool. So you can buy any ZMF, Audeze, Meze cable, and it'll work with all your headphones. And that's, to me, like the best thing we've seen in a while. Because otherwise, you know, if you go with Hifiman, you got to have the you know, the two 1/8 inch, or sometimes they're 1/4 inch. It depends on which headphone. Blah 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 blah. And these are all this XLR thing, the XLR Mini, and that's great because when you buy one cable, you can. I get to port this across all kinds of headphones. That's what made this such an attractive buy for me, is that I can use it. I can use it with the Meze, or with the ZMF, or with any of my Audeze headphones, except the Carbon. The Carbon's electrostatic. So yeah, but I would check with Zach. I mean, see if he'll do something. Like if you can throw in a cable, since you're buying a headphone. Hey, dude, can I buy a cable too? Can you give me a little love on it? Maybe he will. Maybe he'll give you like 10% off or something. Who knows? Ask him. Can't hurt to ask. Worst he could say is no. Memo Jenkins says, check out your milliwatt and milliwatt rating to see if you need to bump the power before going balanced. But then again, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, if you're going balanced, most of these amps, if you have a balanced output, the balanced output is a higher output anyway. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue, maybe. Abdullah says, hi, Michael. Do you think the HE1000 is an upgrade? SE is an upgrade of the HE1000 V2 because of its $1,000 difference? Well, Hifiman would tell you yes. So you could start there. I've never owned the HE1000 SE, and I haven't spent any time with it. So I can't fairly tell you that it's definitely, you know, a major upgrade. I can tell you this. The HE1000 V2 is one of the very best headphones I've ever heard. And I used to own them, and it kills me that I don't have the pair around here anymore. Because in many ways, I prefer the sound of the 1000 V2 over even the Susvara, because the Susvara is such a pain in the butt to drive. And it's like I lament that headphone because I don't have anything. I still don't have an amp here that I feel like hooks up well. And I say this all the time on the show. It's probably like a broken record, but it seems to me that the HE1000 is one of those sweet spot headphones, like the Hifiman Atrium. I'm a big fan of Hifiman. I think they do great stuff, and their builds are getting better and better. I think that as the headphones are going on, I'm more and more impressed with their machine work. And, you know, like the first HE1000 came out and like the wood was separating from the cups at one point on a lot of those headphones. And you know, the V2s were a lot better. Like the machine work was more flush. There weren't as, you know, the tolerances were much tighter. And and if you look at the Susvara is an improvement over even that. So, but sound-wise, I'm going to assume that there's some advantage to it, but the HE1000 V2 is one of the very best headphones I've ever heard. I've heard a lot of headphones. I would, if you gave me, you know, if you gave me the option that there are only a couple of headphones that I would consider taking over that HE1000 V2, and like maybe what is it with me today? I am spacey. The Abyss, the Abyss Phi 1266 TC. That's a headphone that I would take over the HE1000 V2, although they look ridiculous, but I think that headphone now is sounding better than it's ever sounded. I'm ever since I put it on this stack and the Ferrum stack back here that I've got, and I should turn it on just for the fun of it, so you get the light in the background because it's cool looking. Get the little. As always, you can't see it though. Let's see. Let's make an adjustment. Can you see? Oh, that's much better, isn't it, folks? Isn't that much better? Now you see the Ferrum stack lit up. So stupid. Why do you watch this? But the Hypsos, you know, worst name ever for a product, is the power supply. And on that power supply, you can supply different voltages to the amp, and the amp will take anywhere from 24, I think it's even less than that, I think it'll go down to 20 or something, to 30 volts of power to the amp, and it will change the characteristics of the amp. And when I goose the power up to 27-ish, there's something that just clicks with the Abyss that sounds magical. It's the best. I put that on, and I've had friends over, and they listen to the Abyss through the Ore stack, and they're blown away. Like they've just... And it's funny because then I'll give them the Susvara, and they'll be like, why do you even care about these when you've got that? You know? So that says a lot, because, you know, they're just guys who like good sounding stuff. They don't know the stuff behind it. But I'm telling you, it's like that is a magical combo. And also the Atrium, and this will be in the review, because I've got a review coming in a few weeks, And I already started writing that because I write down, I've been listening to this headphone so much. I listened to these with Al Green when I was, doing my Al Green marathon on Saturday it was. I had the Atrium with the Al Green, and it's such a great pairing because these are kind of a darker headphone, and one of the main characteristics of that niche Memphis sound is very little reverb. They used it on some of the earlier recordings, but when they hit their stride with the Memphis sound, it was a very dry sound. There was no reverb on the vocals, and it sounds. That's what this thing does so well. It's like it's just such a meaty sounding headphone. Really like it, and on a dry recording, it really hooks up in interesting ways. But that headphone if I crank it up to 30 volts all the way up, just crank the crap out of it, you start getting great bass response out of these things. So I found that makes a bigger difference to me than the pads, which I keep swapping every now and then and just go, I don't know. I can't. I'm like, well, maybe this sounds better, and maybe this one. I'm like, I just can't pick the headphone pads that well. At least on this headphone. And I even, by the way, speaking of headphone pads, and I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling thoughts today. Look what I picked up. So, I don't have the other pads are in the case, but the Elite from Meze, when they came out with this headphone, they came out with they shipped just like the Empyrean with the suede pad, and then they gave you a leather pad, but the leather pad on the Elite was half the width. It was half the width of the other pad, and these are magnetic. One of the many things I love about Meze and their designs. They just literally snap off and snap on. I mean, it's frickin' genius. Why can't everybody do this? But so I put in an order way back when, because I don't think that the thinner pad feels as good to me. I like the big cushy pad, and I was a little disappointed that they didn't. And the suede is a little on the warm side for me, and it also sucks. It seems like it sucks a little detail out of the sound. I don't know, but I wanted the thick leather pad, and I found a pair, and so I got these. These were brand new, and I bought them from Audio 46, and they were on back order, and they finally the other day they said, hey, we've got them, we're sending them to you. So I'm like, great. They're like $150 or something, but it's pretty expensive for a pad. But I'm like, I wanted this thickness, and and because it's the same build, it's an identical, mirror image build. It's just got a to the Empyrean. The Elite is. So now I've got the exact same comfort feel that I had back on that Empyrean that I loved so much. And there's one of the things I was disappointed about this headphone. It's like, why'd you give me a thinner pad? I like that thicker pad. And now now I got a pair of thicker pads. Love that. DJ NGO says $90. He's referring to that UPS bill. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And I was sending an $800 headphone. I'm like, it cost me an eighth of the price of the headphone to ship it. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I'm really worried about the giveaway because I'm not getting anything for those. Just sending them out. Victorina says he was getting a Geshelli amp. I have not tried Geshelli. I've heard good things, but I have not tried Geshelli as an amp. It's 2 watts per channel at 32 ohms. Do you think that it will drive the Atriums fine? That's a little on the low side for an over-ear. 2 watts is great if you've got a tough-to-drive pair of IEMs. It's about an average. These aren't the easiest to drive. It would be super great if you had the Elite, because the Elite is easier to drive. I'm finding these to be not that they won't power them. They'll power them fine, but my issue has been getting bass response out of these because they're a little lean on the bottom, especially the sub bass. I like a headphone that kicks my ass in the sub, which is why I love these Elites more and more. I'm like, yeah, they don't have the resolution of the 1266, but they've got better bass than the 1266, and that's saying a lot. That's the 1266 can be a bass cannon if you separate them a bit, and I like the bass just as much, if not more, on the Elite, and it's because, but to get that bass out of the Atrium, you got to give it juice. They really want juice, like in reserve. Like you got to have an amp with some serious capacitors. Like I would bet, this does. I don't know what the guts of the Hypsos or stack looks like, but I would bet that an amp like the Burson would be even a better match. Because the Burson, I've seen the inside of that, there's significant caps on the inside of that. And a capacitor is what stores all that power, and when you have a bass note hit, those capacitors unload. Because they're storing power, and they drain the capacitor, and you get this, a hard impact is the result of what you get in the, from in the headphone. So yeah, I don't know, 2 watts, and it depends. So it depends on exactly what I don't know enough about Geshelli as an amp. It will drive it. I'm sure it will make sound. I just don't know if it's going to be like the perfect match for them. And I'm not, and the one thing I haven't done with the Atrium is I haven't used it on the WA5LE, but I don't suspect it's going to be the best pairing for that headphone, but it might be. Director's Garage sale like Zeos. Well, I don't do, he does auctions. Zeos does, and it's behind a paywall. And I've like, you have to be real careful, from Ace of Spades. You have to be real careful when you do these things. If I'm doing a giveaway, I can't put a giveaway behind a paywall, because then it becomes a lottery, because you're paying for it. There's an element of chance, and there's a prize. There's something to win. So that becomes a lottery, which is illegal, federal offense. No, thank you. And cheers, everybody. It's 3:57. We're half hour in on a hump day happy hour hangout at the Director's Garage. Thank you, guys. What are you guys drinking? Give me some beers in the chat here. Let's find out what's going on. What are you guys drinking? I'm on the. I've got a thermos of, wait for it, water, and I've got my sugar-free iced tea, the hard stuff. But I've thought about it. Like, would I do something like that? I don't know. I mean, the biggest problem I've had, and I'm probably going to do a Patreon at some point. It's just like, you guys know, I mean, I struggle to get these damn episodes out, and to give you guys good, like, perks on some membership dealio, that takes effort and time, and I'm like, I'm barely getting the episodes out the door. So I'm like, I would love to be able to get more revenue stream, get a different revenue stream going for this show, because God knows, like, I'm not getting it from YouTube. And you can, the stuff that really, where I get some money is if you guys buy from Audio 46, which is our co-sponsor. And those of you who are here every week know that if you go to audio46.com, and when you're checking out, use the coupon code Director's Garage, all one word, at checkout, you'll get an extra 5% off most of the items that they carry. And that also kicks back some to the show, because I'm sending you to them, so they send some money my way, and so you get a discount, I get a little love, Audio 46 gets a sale, everybody happy. So that's why I do that, and I feel good about that, because I'm actually giving you, in a sense, like, you're getting a product that you actually want, and you're not just like giving money. So that feels good to me. Like, that feels like a good way to do it, but I can't, even then, it's not like I'm, we're not raking it in. It's like, it's just like a nice little something to try and counter what it is I'm getting, what I'm spending to buy headphones to do reviews on this show, because I want to review headphones that I kind of like, and I think you guys want me to do reviews of headphones that, you know, like the Atrium. ZMF, I don't have enough subscribers to get ZMF to send me this stuff. So I'm like, it's cash out of pocket. And there was a bias thing about 6 months ago that everybody was getting on reviewers for. Like, you're getting free stuff, so you're just saying nice things about the headphone because you got it for free. And they don't let you keep it. You have to forward it back to them when you're done reviewing it. And they don't ask you to, they don't expect you to do a review, you know, positive or negative review. But I understand the bias, concern, or whatever. And if I'm buying a headphone, I was completely transparent about my experience with ZMF the first time around. I got a pair of Verites, and this was right after the show launched. I had sold my HE1000 V2s, and I picked up a brand new custom pair of Verites that I designed, that I worked with Zach on. We talked colors, and like I had it just the way I wanted it, and I got it here, and it just, like, things didn't impress me. Like the hardware was like, the hinges and the hardware and stuff just didn't feel very like polished. It felt like just parts that you would buy from a vendor or something and then screw them into your wood and whatever. And the wood cups were beautiful, there's no question about that, but I don't know. And then the sound was just okay. I wasn't blown away by the sound of the Verite Open. For whatever reason. And I think maybe I would be more impressed with them now because I have more headphones under my belt. But you get something substantial. Like, this is such a difference in every way from that Verite experience. These things are, like, these are machined, and these are, you don't buy these parts, you have to have these parts created. And the headband has come, it's 100 years different from that ZMF headband I had. Like, in every way, this has been a remarkable experience for me. And the Zach's finishes are getting better and better. And this is just, look at I mean, you can see the way that the thing catches the light, and it's this sunburst effect. He wore the finish through just a little bit around the cups to give it that sort of Fender sunburst effect, and then painted did something with the grills where he sort of aged the grills, and I don't know if it's paint or whatever. He may have just spray painted a little bit of it, but left it wear through in the middle to give it this kind of antique-y feel. And he even carried it through on these posts. Talk about your attention to detail. He even has that wear factor on the posts for to establish when you're setting the size on these things. Such a great, well thought out, solid design. I've loved these every time I put them on. They're a big headphone, and they're a heavy headphone, and they're like serious, but it's like you feel like you bought something. Me raving on about Zach's headphones again. Well, it's true, but I'm also equally honest that first headphone, I don't know, didn't quite like, it didn't hit the mark for me. So, but I bought them, and I think that means that I'm not going to be biased, which was kind of the point. Okay, so you think single-ended with that is fine? Yes, Victor, the Atrium's single-ended is fine, but you might need, I don't know that 2 watts is going to do it for you. That's the only thing. I don't know. And I'm not familiar enough with Geshelli amps. I've heard the name, and I know Zeos has done some stuff on them. I can remember him talking about them, but I haven't. I'm not as familiar with their amps. I'm sorry. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell you about Geshelli. Jeffrey Allison says, "Hey guys, quick updated the final D8000 Pros and the Macintosh MHA, that's the headphone amp. 200 seem to be a great pairing for enjoyment. The final 8000, Jeffrey, is a headphone that I want. That's a headphone that's on my list of, I've got that long-term list and that short-term list, and the final 8000, that's in the near future at some point. Whether it's I'm going to buy a pair, or maybe Audio 46 can send me a pair if they're watching. They're not watching. Ryan D says, Viking, Weave, or ZMF for cables, in my opinion. Yeah, Viking. I also have a Norn cables. I bought those. Though they took forever to get here from Sweden, wherever it is, Finland maybe. I don't remember, but they took forever. They were really nice, but they were expensive. They weren't cheap. And then, you know, anything from Kimber is going to cost you forever. Right? Linso cables are a good deal, though. Yeah, they are, and they're quality material. They make it with like silver and copper-plated silver and silver-plated copper, and you can get anything. And from that, the headphones the cables that will cost you a fortune are the Effect Audio cables that come in the fancy cases and stuff. I mean, the new top of the line Effect Audio IEM cable is $3,000. I'll say that again. It's $3,000 for an IEM cable. It's unreal. Now I saved a few bucks on mine going into the Bling show, which is this one. This is the Cleopatra Octa from Effect Audio, and this in itself was $1,800. But if you buy this thing new, it's like $2,300. I think $2,300 for the Effect. And this is a 16 down to it's a 8 down to a 4 on the cable, and this is their palladium coated silver. You know, it's some like bespoke kind of thing. And then but this is like amazing. It's an amazing cable. It feels amazing. Again, I think the sale that these things somehow make a massive difference in sound is a little in the audio bullshit kind of area, because either it's making connection or it's not making connection. And it really shouldn't matter much. Like, I trust, if you believe that you hear a cable difference, then you hear a cable difference, and I believe you. But personally, in my personal experience, I like the feel of these cables. I like the look of these cables. I think these cables are awesome, and I'm not sorry I bought one. But do I need it? No, the Linso cable would be just fine. And I have the Linso cable for everyday use. I just have this really expensive pair of Sultans that have the purple pine cone inserts. I don't have B-roll on this show, but and these things are stunning, and this was a good purchase. And I actually I bought this first for the Odin, which lost the shootout to the Sultan, and started my path down the very dangerous and financially ruinous Noble Audio path. That said, God, I just love Noble headphones. Just everything about them, they're so great. And Nobles are just amazing headphones. And I still have that custom pair that Dr. John Moulton did for me, and I use those at work every day. I do. I love them. Let's go down the Viking Weave Cedras. Yes, that's good. I'm going to check Viking Weave, guys. In fact, I'm going to copy this note and put it into a note for myself right now, because that's pretty good. That's not a bad thing. I'm just gonna. Oh, okay. Let's try just typing something to ourselves. Viking Weave. There you go. Okay, now I won't lose it. Very cool. Oh yeah, they're pretty. Okay, I believe you. Very nice. So I'll check that out. Maybe that's an option. Yeah. Skedra has the best connectors. Scary how industrial they are. Yeah, I mean, these Kimbers are really good. I don't know who makes them. Oh, Furu Tech. Furu Tech makes the things for and the Kimbers are really good. Those always seem to be really nice. Those opalescent splits are the best bling. Zach did give him a discount on an XLR cable about a month or two after I got the Verite closed. JTB chiming in with some sage advice. So yeah, check with ZMF. Zach will work with you, man. He's a good guy. Jeffrey Allison says he also has the Enlium, bad name, amp 23R. That's an amp that I want. I'm jealous. Jeffrey, send that over here. Yeah, he'll have more info next week. Well, the Enlium 23R is the follow-up to the Bakun 13R. And I want, as JTB knows, I want one of those Bakuns for my Susvara to try it out. Sorry, Wednesdays are grandkids' days, so he's never sure he can get on or how long he can stay. Well, you know what? You got to take care of the family stuff first. And I'm reminded of that. My dad's in the hospital right now, so you got to take care of that family stuff. It's very important. JTB, the 1000 SE is better than the V2. He recently tested them against each other. It's a detail monster and easier to drive than the V2. That doesn't surprise me. I just know that V2 was a special headphone. I loved that headphone. Edlium and the Diana is a huge surprise. Well, the Diana is a pretty challenging headphone to drive, so that I would think that would be not the worst pairing, Jeffrey. That's a good point. His spicy take is that all the stealth magnet versions of Hifiman headphones are better than the non-stealth versions. Hifiman has hit on something with their the only thing I would say, JTB, is that there is, at least on the Susvara, there is that weird upper mid, lower treble region, like thinness to the sound. It's not that it's missing, it's just the sound goes a little bit thin or transparent on that. Transparent isn't always a good thing because it doesn't carry a lot of like heft to it, and it's like it loses some of its zhuzh in that like upper treble, or sorry, lower treble, upper mid area. And it's just like it's something that's very unique to Hifiman, and there are people that I've heard that hear that and they're just like, that ain't for me, that is not for me. So that's the only thing, is like, it's like there is something about, because there is a thing on the Susvara. It's like, as good as it is technically, and there's no question. I mean, it's just detail monster, like you say. It's got good bass if you can get it. I just think that it needs such amplification to pull the best out of it. And then, even then, I don't know if anything's going to get rid of that little. That's just a characteristic of the membrane that they're using. It's got this little thinness, John Kiss says, good evening, good night from Israel. Good evening, good night from Israel. Good morning, good evening, and good night. That was a Jim Carrey thing. And cheers. Whoa. There it is. Wow. Cheers is the key word of the Director's Garage. Yes. Cheers, everybody. What are y'all drinking? Nobody has chimed in with a beer yet. I mean, come on. Oh, here we go. Mike's Hard Iced Tea. I just skipped down the chat a little bit. I'll go back to the top in a second. Mike's Hard Iced Tea from ML Jenkins. Cheers, ML Jenkins. You enjoy your Mike's Hard Iced Tea. I have the regular. Oh, you're not drinking Mike. There is a Mike's Hard Iced Tea with like liquor in it or something. You can buy it. But yeah, this is my thing. What are you guys drinking? Unsweetened iced tea tonight for Jeffrey Allison. All right, we're all part of that. Okay, so going back up here, my thoughts. Ace of Spades. This is from Ace of Spades. Thoughts on the Utopia Dana Cable Nirvana 4000 headphone 3500 cable. Is that a legit game changer or snake oil? I'm not going to tell you what it is, snake oil. Because I'm telling you, I've got a this is a $3,000 cable. I'm telling you, it's really great, but it doesn't get anything. You're not going to hear anything on that. Okay, ML Jenkins says, get it used. Yeah, always, always, always. Please, people, buy used. Buy used wherever you can. It's good karma for your fellow headfires who are like looking to unload their gear for whatever reason it is, to get into their next big obsession, and you save yourself money. I mean, that new stuff, oh man, is it expensive. I mean, ask me. I know. And you buy it new, and by the time you get it to the point where you're going to sell it, it's like the thing's worth half its value. I'm like, man, I'm taking $1,000, $1,600 hits on headphones. That's painful. Yeah, you find out in a hurry that used is the way to go when you run a headphone show. JTB has his Snapple iced tea here. Heat wave in the East Coast. We have a mild heat wave going on right now. It's like 90 and humid, but humidity's not great out here right now, which is odd because it's almost always dry. We get into August, things will dry out in a hurry. John K says he wishes he had the money for the gear discussed here. Wow, amazing. Yeah, well, just remember, not all of us have the money for this gear either. No, don't ever go into debt for audio stuff, folks. You'll never recover. The Utopias were a disappointment to JTB. He's falling into the camp of feeling like the Focal headphones are a bit overrated. Utopia treble was murdering his eardrums. Could be very amp dependent though. I like the Utopia. I do. I think that they're a little long in the tooth, and I think that ZMF has come so far in what they're doing with their drivers. I don't know that the Utopia is as relevant. I'm sounding like I've been drinking alcohol. I think that the Utopia maybe isn't as relevant as it was, say, even a year ago. It was more in that top discussion. I think now it's really starting to show that it's long in the tooth. I think there's too much out there that's coming in that's a little hotter. It's a little better take on that. Is Mrs. Director just here? No. Okay. I think there's stuff out there that would really give the Utopia. Even the resolution on something like this Atrium is. It's gonna start. It starts eating into that Utopia. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, you guys know if you looked at my Focal Stellia review, that was a headphone that did not impress me. And I know people, I've seen reviews of people that say, oh my God, this is like one of the best closed back headphones. I'm still waiting to get a pair of closed back ZMFs. And I get closer and closer to that. I just haven't quite gotten there yet for whatever reason. So but it's in the future. You know, I know I'm going to have a ZMF closed back headphone at some point because I want one. I want to try it out. But the Stellia was a massive disappointment to me. After generally liking I don't know that the Utopia has ever been. It was a top endgame headphone for me at one point, and certainly when I first got the Utopia, I was like, Focal Utopia, man, I got a Focal Utopia, because I mean I hadn't owned anything like that before. So yeah, it was really impressive to get it, and I liked it when I first got it, but I think over time it's sort of worn down. This headphone to me is like damn near the sweet spot right now. These are faster than the Utopia, I think now. The Elites are, and they have the best tuning. And I'm like, it's a hard. I mean, and when you've got other companies making these great dynamic driver headphones, I'm like. And this isn't a pure, this is obviously a planar magnetic, which with kind of like that Ribeiro design, whatever the hell that means. But these sound a lot like a dynamic driver headphone because of their driver. The bass has legitimate, solid, oh my gosh, impact and slam down into the sub, which is one of the things that I love about a good dynamic driver headphone is that sub impact, and these get me there, and it's certainly in a more comfortable way that's less amp dependent. Yeah, there's a huge case. I mean, before I'd say spend the money on a Utopia, I would say make sure you listen to these first, because these are so good, and then you can always jump up in price to the crazy more expensive stuff, but I think that's like at the high end, these are right there for me. I don't Director, hold up, director's taking notes. If you're going to do it fast, yes. Oh, he's taking notes from me. Yes, I don't know that I'm giving out. These are just the thoughts that I have as I've gone through all these headphones because I've had them. JTB says the Atrium are tempting, but to him the Verite Closer is still the best EMF headphone. Great all-rounder. It does have the bass that digs deep when the song calls for it. That's why I want them, JTB. That's why I want to get one in here. I'm still looking for that ultimate closed back. And it might be that Meze that I dismissed for its price. It's just that, look, you know, this has design to it. You know, like there's serious design to this. And you look at that Meze closed back. I'm talking about the lyric. It sounded so good, but at the same time, I'm like, this build is like, it doesn't warrant the price. It doesn't warrant a $2,000 price. These are built along the lines of a Bose headphone. Like it just doesn't. Like I was so impressed with them as far as the build quality. I thought at $1,000 you would sell that like this. You know, it would be so fast. Even like $1,400, $1,300. If they sold it for that, that's a pretty good deal on that headphone because of the sound of them. But I was like, the build just disappointed me on that headphone. But so, you know, but I'm on the search for that ultimate closed, and the ZMF is in the running for that. I think the Audeze closed. I like the Audeze closed for everything except they're a little on the bright side for me, and they need some. That's a headphone I want John Massaria to take a look at and like see if there's a filter that can just knock down a little bit of the brightness on it with one of his inserts. You know, he does those inserts on 3D printed and stuff. Really cool. That might be a headphone to try that with. John, if you're out there. Okay. Ace of Spades says Flux Volo have monster capacitors as well. Although no way of getting one made in the Ukraine right now. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can find one used, though. Again, it's used. Jeffrey Allison says, old school bass cannon, the Fostis TH900. And Jeffrey, if you watched one of my latest episodes was all about that Fostex combo with Drop and the THX00 line, and I got the Ebony in, and I had the Purple Heart, and I still love the Purple Heart because it does have that bass cannon effect. The 900 I should pick up though, just to have sometime, but it's not one that's, you know, it's been around for a minute. But they're under $1,000 for the TH900 for version 2. You can get one. JTB says getting a Flux is probably the only on the used market. Correct. Mike's Hard Ice Tea we talked about. JTB, YouTube police are watching the audio giveaways. Well, I would think the FTC is too. Don't hold the lottery, folks. Don't do it. But yeah, I could do. I mean, maybe someday I can do that whole, you know, auction thing, and maybe that could be a way to do the giveaways instead, where you can pick up stuff for cheap because people don't bid that much in the auctions. If you do a silent auction kind of thing, I don't know. It's an option, something to think about. But I gotta set it all up, and I even like started looking at the site and deciding how I would do it. I just never it's just, I know I want to give you value if you're going to subscribe, get behind a paywall for this channel. I feel like I got to offer you guys something. I got to give you guys some access to something, that's cool, that would make it worth your while. I don't know what that is. So, actually, I think I know what it is. I just don't have the time to do it. So there you go. Because one thing I would like to do if I ever did that, did a Patreon, is I would do a Patreon Zoom, and do it on Zoom instead of YouTube live stream, because then we can all log in as directors' garage heads. It's a work in progress. And like we could all get into the garage, the virtual garage, and like we can show our shit off on Zoom with 2-way cameras. Because, you know, now you can hold up, of course, you know, everybody keep your pants on, please. No, just kidding. You can keep your pants off, just shoot yourself above the waist. You know, you want to, I would love to have that where we have the interaction where we can actually talk to each other and carry on a real conversation and just be like a moderator handing it off to people to go, you know, and talk about their stuff. And we can show off our stuff, you know, back and forth. It'd be kind of cool. So that was one of the things that I would like to do behind, if I do a Patreon, there will be like a level that will get you into the Zoom chats. And we'll do like a Zoom chat. I don't know if it'll be super frequent, but, you know, we do once a month Hangout, maybe twice a month, something like that. Try that, see how it works, see if people are into it. But I think that that's where it gets interesting, you know, when we can start, you know, like, hey, check this out. I just got this headphone. And so everybody, all of us go, ooh, you know, that would be pretty cool. Ace of Spades says Verite closed greater than the Verite open, so the comparison is Verite closed versus Atrium. That makes sense. And I JTB, I'm going to agree with you on this. The Verite Open are a little bit on the irrelevant side. Like I said, it wasn't a headphone that just quite got there for me. Sumbo listens with the Death Skulls. Rock on, man. John K. He likes light cables for IEMs. The lighter, the better. I always worry about, because I'm such a road warrior and I'm always on the road and stuff. I'm always worried about damaging thin cables. Like this is the 7 hertz timeless. I'm like, that's super thin, man. That's dancing with the devil. Some Alyssa says, you can't ever shame cable love. Buy what you think looks, feels, and maybe sounds better. Yeah, I'm like, hey, it's your money, dude. Do what you want. There's this thing of, you know, you go on to some of the boards and some of the discussion groups, and there's like people are dying on swords over a cable. You know, like, you don't know what you're talking about. Your ears are filled with, you know, with cotton and wax. You know, you can't hear anything. And I'm like, why has it got to be like that? You know, like, why has it got to be so life and death over an audio hobby? Like, guys, let's have some fun here. It's a big tent. There can be room for somebody who likes a fancy cable and thinks he hears the difference, and somebody who doesn't necessarily hear the difference, but maybe just appreciates a fancy cable. And then you can be upset that somebody would spend that kind of money on a cable. You have a right to be upset, but they have a right to buy the cable. Okay. JTB has some swampland in Florida to sell whoever's buying those $3,000 cables. Well, you know, I don't begrudge somebody for wanting to buy a $3,000 cable. If that like gets them going and it deepens their interest in the hobby, go for it. I don't care. You know, keep Kimber alive. They got to sell somebody. It's got to be buying them. Adam Cardo says Focal has such mediocre timbre. I don't know. I have guys who love Focal for their timbre. I mean, I know people who like the Focal is their favorite headphone, and there are some YouTubers that like just even recently said, and I can't remember which one, but there was a guy who came out and said like, I am now coming to the conclusion that the Utopia is still the best headphone out there, and I'm like, I disagree, but I appreciate that somebody appreciates the. There are people who think that the 64 audio trio at 3600 or Quattro for the headphone I used to own, the Forte, not the Quattro. The Quattros is the name of the pizzeria in Carbondale that I used to go to, you know, late at night, and you get this really sloppy piece of red covered, you know, super sauced pizza. But the Forte is the IEM from 64 Audio, and I loved that headphone until I started putting it up against some other headphones, and it sounded like more on the veiled side to me. There are people who love that Forte. you know, and that's a $3,600 IEM. That's more expensive than this amazing Sultan. Can you believe that? Like the Forte. So I'm like, and it's just a shell. It's just an anodized molded shell. Like this is, there's, you know, the faceplate on the Sultan is like handcrafted, you know, depending on which one you get. So very cool. Anyway, moving on. Cheers, everybody. We are about an hour in. I'll probably do another half hour or so, and then call this one. Those of you just joining, I am exceptionally tired. I am not sleeping much, and I have a 2 a.m. wake-up call tomorrow. 2 a.m. So it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal tomorrow morning. Because I normally, keep in mind, folks, I go to bed at 2 a.m. normally. I'm going to be waking up at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. I got to go to Disney for a shoot I can't talk about yet. And I got the Beach Boys on Sunday at the Greek Theater with John Stamos. We're going to do an interview there. And I'll probably hang out and see some of the show. Atrium Closed is in the works, supposedly. Well, that would replace the Verite Closed, I would assume. Maybe not necessarily. I mean, who knows? I do think they're different beasts. I have a greater appreciation for the Atrium than I did for the Verite Open. And they're both open backs. I think the manufacturing certainly is so much improved on the Atrium. Like, you know, and it should. Look, Zach's been a company that he's been growing since they were just doing like cables and mods and stuff. And you know, now they've got their own line, and like, yeah, they're going to get better as he does more versions and learns how to do different things and gets curious in the lab. In his workshop when he's building stuff, like, what does this do? What is this? You know, let's marry some epoxy with this wood and see how that comes out. You know, will people buy this? So they think that's cool. You know, I think it's cool. You know, whatever. JTB says it was the Amplify Audio show gave very good headphone. Who's very good reviewing headphones said he might like the Atrium more than the Utopia. Okay. I don't know Amplify Audio Files show, though. I haven't listened to that. There's a lot of them out there right now. There's actually, you know, like, it's hard to get oxygen in this dumbass show. It's like... but you were the little engine that could. We got a great, at least I really like our community. This is the best community, man. People, if people hung out here long enough, like, it's such a laid back community. Nobody goes for anybody. Like, I love that in the chat. It's like, it's all like, what'd you get? What'd you like? Did you like this? I didn't really care for it, but you know, cool. Like, we have the best community here. Like, it's just decent people that are fun to be around. Ace of Spades, Verite Closed are available for $1,800 on Headfi. The pretty stable high school, but I know, and I'm like the kid who gets. Every time I go to buy the stabilized closed, I'm shut out, and I'm an old guy. I don't click my fingers fast enough. I gotta check something for work real quick, guys. Humor me while I make sure that I'm not in trouble for anything. And the answer is. Great. We're fine. That's great. Okay. No problems. No problems at work. JTB says if he didn't have the HG1000 SE, he'd probably consider getting the Meze Elite. If the Mezes were just a little cheaper. Well, again, you know, JTB, and then like look for a used one. See if you can come up, you know, find somebody who's unloading a used and, you know, wants to move on. Mezes lose value. They don't hold value, you know, like, at least I will say this, like the Hifiman, the Susvara, and the Abyss, they hold value. Like you're not going to take a bath on it. And some of the other headphones, they really they take a pounding. The ZMFs, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's like they just drop in value, and so does Meze. Quickly. And I know because I bought this pair, I know I'm going to take a bath on them if I ever go to sell them. I like them though. I'm such a fan of these. Yellow Jacket says for the LCD XC you just need EQ. I know I don't EQ though for a variety of reasons. Number one, I don't really have a great EQ setup here. I'm not set up to do that. The RME, I have my cord stuff, and I'm not going to get rid of, buy an RME to get rid of cord, especially with the Hugo T. I have 2 Hugo TTs in this stack, plus the M scaler. The Cord TT1 drives my Genelec speakers so well. Love this setup, and it's been on 24/7 since I bought the thing, and it's never worn down. It's just an amazing. I had one problem where I broke the USB port on the back, and I had to have somebody repair it. But other than that, this cord is just amazing, and the Hugo TT2 is even better. So I can't see myself swapping in an RME for any reason. When I have that, when I'm up there on that level for my DAC. ML Jenkins says he's actually proud of how much Meze has accomplished in the headphone scene. Yes, no question. And they're in Yugoslavia, right? And which is right next door to where all the shit's going down. Romania, maybe? No, they're in Romania. But they're right next door to where all the shit's going down with the Ukraine. It's like, stay where you're at, Putin. Don't mess with our headphone stuff. Companies. We like them too much. JTB says if he didn't have the Elites, he'd go after the HE1000 SE because of how great they sound. Yeah, they do. But I would also say that the Elites sound really good. The Pantsless Garage coming next year. That's my sister show. It's a whole different type of show, though, folks. It's on OnlyFans. Coming to OnlyFans. The Pantsless Garage. Okay. Muhammad says, sir, you know the Sennheiser HE1 ohm have. Well, you're talking about the Orpheus, and I have not heard. I'm not in headphones. I don't know what ohm they are because they're in electrostatic. So I don't know that electrostatics have the same measurings as planars, and because it's a different kind of thing. They're fed in an entirely different way. And because you're charging the stator in the headphone, I don't know. I don't know if you can find an ohm equation to an HE1. I've heard the HE1. I actually got a listening session with the latest, the one with the marble and the tubes that come up out of the marble and all that, the fancy schmancy, and it's amazing. I also think that the carbon is pretty close to it. We got to crank them up loud. That's the only thing. Adam Cardo says, pardon his hot takes. Okay, you're pardoned. What's my opinion of the MoFi story? Min, we went into that. If you watched last week's live stream, I talked about it at length. I think it's a little played out right now to kind of go back and revive it. But basically, I think that, in a nutshell, Mobile Fidelity was in the wrong. I think that they were deceptive. I think that they were intentionally deceptive because they left out critical information that they must have known. Had they included it, it would have altered their ability to charge what they were charging for the records. If people understood up front that their albums are digitally sourced, $125 for a record is not going to get had. No, I think most people will say, I'd rather go with something analog, thank you, for that price. Oh, the other thing I did this with, by the way, I'll talk about it in a second, but okay. I got to tell you about something else. Putting a pin in that because I did something dumb and I want to talk about it. And it's probably the reason I thought about it right now. But I believe Mobile Fidelity was in the wrong. And I believe they knew what they were doing. That they knew that they were doing was something controversial and something that they, because they didn't talk about it and they didn't mention it. And that, why wouldn't you mention a major step like we're doing one-step recordings that are hitting the digital realm? And as somebody who wants to buy a record from an audiophile record company, introducing a digital step into the making of that vinyl analog record makes just about no sense to me. Like, why would you do that? And other than the answer is money and ease, because it's much easier to deal with a digital file than it is a big honking analog tape. And even if you went in there and made an analog dub of their analog tape, which you wouldn't hear that generation loss, not on that level with that quality of recorder, player and recorder combination, it's a shortcut. And they knew they were doing a shortcut, and they didn't. It was a sin of omission. Analog Productions is upfront about when they're sourcing something digitally because they couldn't get access to something. Why wasn't Mobile Fidelity all along? So I'd leave you. I don't know if I'm going to answer that question because I might get a little harsh, and I don't know that I want to get harsh today. I don't feel like I feel like doing it, but they did something wrong. I think they knew that it was wrong, and now they're going to have to get themselves out of this mess. However they see fit. And I would say this, people have made a lot of suggestions about what to do, and my suggestion to Mobile Fidelity is anybody who bought a one-step version of their record, they should provide us with the 4x DSD file that was created to master the record from. That seems fair to me. So offer us a 4x DSD file. We want the master we paid for, and what we thought we were getting, and you got caught and you're trying to talk your way out of it. Okay. ML Jenkins says, keep loving what you love. Sounds good. The Director's Garage tent, we like everyone, but Neff, screw that guy. Oh, shots fired! Nephilim 81. He's not around to defend himself today. Amplify Audio, Sahid from Headphone. Yeah, okay. Sahid reached out to me for a couple of things at different times, and I just haven't, I don't have time to watch everybody's stuff. That's the problem. I mean, I don't have time to do my own stuff. Once in a while, I'll catch something on. If I see a headline that interests me and it pops into my feed on YouTube, I'll click on it and watch a little bit of it, but I'm usually skipping around. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Adnan Ferozi says he joined after a month. What'd you join? Adnan, tell us what you joined. Hello everyone. Yes, this community is the best. Yeah, I totally enjoy you guys and what you add to the hobby. I'm playing with Velcro. That's what that ripping is. It's not my pants. He just bought Sahid's Legend Evo. Good guy. Oh, great. And sup to Adnan? Yeah. Cheers. Everybody cheers to Adnan for stopping in. Always good to see you, buddy. You've been missed. Yes, you have been missed. Sup, ML Jenkins. Yeah, we're all catching up with each other. Romania on the Meze origins. I always want to say Italy because it's Meze, and Meze, it's an Italian word. Ryan Dietz says, have you considered creating a Discord server? Well, Ryan, I don't know what a Discord server is. It's shameful. I've seen people talk about their Discord. Get on my Discord. Click into my Discord. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know. It's and worse than that, Ryan, I don't have time to know what it is. I don't have time to do it. Watched all the episodes while he was away. He couldn't appreciate the shout outs. Love you guys. Yeah, nothing but love here, Adnan. And I called you out a couple times, I think, and you get love from folks around here. I think we talk about that with all of our guys, you know, who we don't see for a while. JTB just sold his Cord TT2 M scaler. If I was smart, JTB, I would do that too, because you know an M scaler 3 is around the corner. Oh, darkness. JTB sold his Susvara. Now he's firmly in the mid 5 for life now. Diminishing returns, yada, yada, yada. You're probably right, JTB. I mean, you know, I know you're right, but for the purposes of experimentation, this show's got to push some edges. But I appreciate your what would you say? Your gumption, JTB, to downsize your stuff to the mid-5 level, which is, in all fairness, good enough. I agree with the principle behind that. I think that really once you get to the honestly, once you get to the Stealth Magnet Edition Aria, I think that's pretty much a sweet spot. You can go up from there if you wanted to, but whatever. Nephilim81 finally shows his face. Where you been, Nephilim? What are you drinking? Hi guys, finally here. Cheers, everyone. Music Appreciation Day, Massive Attack Mezzanine. Great on his new WA22. He's loving the amp. The preamp is okay, but the headphone direct out is the best. I believe that. Yes, I got the MoFi question last week. We did the live show. The live stream from last week was, I talked a lot about it. I actually told the whole backstory of it, my understanding of it, my take on it, all of that. Like I went deep. I did probably about 20 minutes of dialogue on it, and then we discussed it too in the chat. So very cool. ML Jenkins says gymnastics MoFi did in their news release, and taking zero responsibility was amazing. Yeah, I think there was some serious wordsmithing there. I would think that they are probably a little nervous about getting sued. There's probably some people in the Head-Fi community that would like to sue them. I'm not one of them. I'm like, I thought it was uncool but I would also say, you know, I'm not, in some level, terribly surprised, because my experience with MoFi pressings has been so mixed. There have been positively great sounding records. The Santana, is bar none one of the best selling records I own. I would also say that the Simon & Garfunkel One Step and the Stevie Ray Vaughan One Step, particularly the Simon & Garfunkel One Step, left a lot to be desired. I don't think it was any better than anything else that I'd heard. So, yeah. So, that's my mom. My mom just texted. Because my dad's, if you guys don't know, at the top of the show, my dad's in the hospital. He got COVID, and he's not feeling well, and they brought him in, and he's like 80 years old, so we're a little nervous about dad's status, but it seems like he's going to be okay. But he has heart problems and all sorts of stuff complicating on top of it, and then he caught COVID, so we're like, not good. And it was his brother who gave it to him. Nice, what a nice brother. Yeah, they definitely did some sidestepping. Hi-Fi Boog says he has so much vinyl but needs a new player. Hi-Fi Boog, I think you should try reel-to-reel. Have you considered a reel-to-reel deck? Chris New York City says he's okay with the DSD one step, just needs to be upfront about it. Yeah, and then that's the thing. The one step thing is just a bad idea, since they don't own the masters. They can't do a true one step. Right, and my point is, and as a counterpoint to that, I hold up the very expensive reel-to-reels that I own, which are true one step, or at worst 2 steps. They're 2 steps off the master, if not 1 step off the master, because they're a full analog process. They're doing a direct dub from one tape to another tape and sending you that tape. That's, to me, as close to the master as you're going to get, in a very, very high quality 15-inch per second reel, which doesn't have any of the flaws that are inherent to vinyl. You don't have the surface noise. You don't have all that other stuff. Yeah. Nephilim 81, straight up, you're right on the MoFi thing. Yeah, I just want the DSD master. If I'm paying you for a $125 record that comes off a DSD master, then give me the master. The DSD 4X is a true one-step. If you give me that file, that is a true one-step. You're generating that from the original master. Give me the file. So, you know, they should come with, in my opinion, it should come with the record. They should have a download and say, hey, we sourced this off DSD. Thought you might like to check out the original DSD. Don't know if you can play 4X DSD, but here's a 4X DSD file. Good luck with it, you know. Matthew Hilty says, cheers, Matthew. Right here, buddy. Nowhere on his records does it say bastard from DSD. He's okay with the fidelity, but he got hoodwinked because the pressing is reproducible now. It's not as collectible or valuable. Well, one thing that you get is their vinyl. And they're using a very high quality vinyl. Very expensive, high quality vinyl for their pressings. It's got a custom name on it. I don't remember what it is. It's like super vinyl or something. But you can get that vinyl elsewhere from other. They all buy the same stock, and they put their own process label on it. But as somebody pointed out in one of the chats that I was following, or YouTube something or others, it is extraordinary quiet vinyl. The vinyl does not make much in the way of any noise at all. So from that point of view, it's very good. I don't know that their process is that good, though, getting that file onto the vinyl. I'm sure they say it is, but I don't know that I can agree with that. JTB says the Burson Conductor 3X Grand Tour he has is close enough to the TT2 at half the price. So the cord stuff went bye-bye and the money went into his wallet. Well, it's probably pretty smart before we get into the next round of revisions and versionitis, because you know there's a TT3 around the corner, just as like there's a Hugo 3 around the corner. You know, they're all going to one-up each other. And the cord conductor, like the Faramore stack here, is pretty damn good. I'm having a little bit of capacitor envy on your Grand Tour, because I don't think that the capacitors have the oomph that the Burson does. That's my opinion. I haven't done A/B comparisons. It's just what I think. Nephilim 81 is drinking Polish fizzy water. It's called magnesia. Okay. Like milk of magnesia. It's a whole other problem you got on your hands there. It's pretty good. The makers of the Ferrum ore would be proud of him. Yes. Nephilim says, Michael, he thinks he found me an amp for the Susvara, which is the Zal HM1. This thing's got it all, but it's $8,000. Hey. Well, you know, so is that Bakun and whatever the follow-up to the Bakun, the 23R is. Both, they're up there, new. So yeah, the Zal HM1. Well, I'll do a Zal. What are we thinking? So there we go. Zal HM1. Oh, it spelled it wrong. It auto-corrected it on me. Change back my Google. Say HL. Images. Yahoo, you suck. Oh, that's a pretty snazzy looking, bare bones looking amp. Very cool. I would show it to you, but we're running out of time, so I'm not going to hook up and do all the things to show you the photo. But Google Zal HM1 if you're interested. JTB says oh, we did that. Ha. So we're starting to wrap down here a little bit, folks. Freaking cool. Who sold the Susvara? Oh, JTB needs to wisen up and sell the Susvara and keep the Arya Stealth. Yeah, I think we all kind of like are feeling that a little bit. Because how soon before there's going to be a Susvara V2? That's a long in the tooth headphone as well, is it not? Nephilim 81 says 8,000. Those things he'll pass. Yes, JTB. Cheers, brother. Manuel Jenkins says he almost bought one, but his wife keeps changing the budget on the kitchen refi. So the hollow audio bass Bliss is coming. That's the, yeah, they make the hollow May, I believe. The May. Bliss is worth saving for, says Adam Cardos. Same way we need. Same way we see CD come with FLAC downloads. Yeah, exactly for the record thing, record controversy. And Nephilim 81 says, designed by a mixing engineer, Zalwan has great options. Okay, maybe bring it up on my fancy computer. I was gonna do that, like I said, but I'm kind of wrapping down here, and I got to do a whole thing to call it up, so I'll show it in a future show. Maybe we'll do it next week. Tease something for next week. Leave us something to talk about, Nephilim. Adnan Ferozi says one of his high school friends who auditioned the Zal thing says it's awesome. It's at the Munich show right now. Yeah. And again, these are amps that I haven't tried, so I don't give a lot of comment on them. I want to talk out the side of my neck and, spew opinions that are unformed. It's not fair to the manufacturer, and it's not fair to you guys. So there. JTB says he gave up trying to drive the Susvara. Wasn't going to invest more money in a more powerful amp. His HE 1000 SE does a lot of what the Susvara does. It's also easy to drive. Arya Stealth Magnet too. Yeah, totally agree. Agree with you. We're on board. I just think you're going to miss that Susvara. I know. He's flipping off his camera right now. ML Jenkins says, we talked about this earlier, but stealth magnet editions are seriously good. They are, no question. I agree 100%. Matthew Hilty says he's waiting for a TT2 on the used market for the cheap when the new one comes out. But he's cheap and doesn't buy new very often. I'd sell you mine, maybe. We'll see. Because when the 3 comes out, I'm going to have it. JTB is waiting up for his TT2. Oh, we did that. Nephilim says he could buy it if they take monopoly money. It's a pipe dream. We all know that feeling. Nephilim says he's tapped out too. The WA22 wasn't cheap. Of course not. Nothing cheap about any of it. Next check, he reminds me. He promises. Worth looking at. Okay, guys, we're at 4:58. I'm going to start wrapping this show up. Want to thank you guys for showing up today. Still one of my favorite hours of the week is this show right here. Did a big stretch there, in case you couldn't tell. Not even getting my workouts in this week, and that's not helping anything. It's like I'm short on sleep and short on workouts. That's never a good combination. But again, thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back again tomorrow, or back again next week for more nonsense on the Happy Hour Humpday Hangout at the Director's Garage. Look for the winners episode. That's coming next. We're going to announce the winners of the giveaway. That's coming. I've got that shot. It's not assembled. It's in a sorry state, but I should have it out by the end of the week. It's just I've got a lot of work to do yet just to get to the ability to edit this week because I've got a lot going on. But it will be there. And I'm going to go to the outro. Music. I love this music. It's one of my favorites. I just want to, so, and again, if you don't win for whatever reason, don't feel like you were left out or anything. A lot of people, we had 400 entries to this giveaway, and there can only be 3 winners. So, but you guys know I'm going to be back with more of those. So don't think that you've missed it for any reason. there will be there will be more. There's more ahead. So make sure that you stay tuned and subscribe and do all those things. And I also have coming up the Atrium full review, and I'm going to be doing a full episode with the John Massaria headphones. Well, look, I got an email. I'm going to go answer that. See everybody. I'll see you before you know it, and we'll check in. Stay tuned. Whatever. Do the things. I got to find where's my stuff so I can sign off. Here it is. Good night, everybody. So dumb.